I can't wait to see you this Sunday in One Mountain, Many Paths, which is what we experience as our seat at the table of history. At this moment, as we're poised between utopia and dystopia, in this time between worlds, this time between stories, we come together every Sunday to actually articulate a new story of value. And it's our understanding based on an enormous amount of data from the interior sciences and the exterior sciences that the only way to address the present suffering of reality, both of human life and of life itself, and the only way to address the call of the future, the suffering of the future, the only way to address the stillborn nature of the future, in other words, the potential death of humanity, the trillions of unborn, the trillions of love stories untold and unlived. The only way to address this moment in history is to actually tell a new story. Not an ordinary news story, but a new story of value. So let me take you inside something of what we're going to try and talk about this Sunday. And I just want to really, really urge myself and urge you, ecstatic urging, delighted urging, to come with your full heart, your unguarded heart, to show up with radical presence, and let's meet each other there and come together. I've been away for about 3 weeks traveling in Europe, right, doing a series of events. One of them was The Crossing, right? This telling of a new story that we just did in Belgium, and it was unimaginably beautiful. And I know that about 2 weeks ago in One Mountain, Christina Amlon did a gorgeous report from The Crossing, and last week we had an incredible week with Elena talking about sonnets and Shakespeare, and the week before with Terry talking about victim and player. So we've had these 3 weeks with these 3 great people. And now for myself, I'm, for one, madly delighted to be back with you. So we're coming back together this Sunday, and we're going to talk about this idea of story. And I want to just take you inside a little bit of where we want to begin to open up into. So there's a famous American poet that says reality's not made up of atoms, reality is made up of stories. And a recent cultural critic, for a series of hidden motivational structures, made a kind of sarcastic remark saying, well, that's kind of ridiculous. Reality's, not just made up of stories, reality is made up of atoms. And he proceeded to kind of say how tired he was to hear of calls for a new story. And of course, he was caricaturing the idea of a new story. And, with total respect and honor to this cultural critic who I haven't met, but who's read a lot of what we've written quite extensively, right? He was making a chess move on a board, because this particular writer views life as chess. But actually, life is not chess, right? Actually, we're in a meta crisis. Actually, the imminent suffering, right, and the present suffering is real. And actually, we feel the suffering inside of us, right? And actually, right, our hearts are ripped open, right, by that suffering. And it's not a game. It's not a word game. It's not a chess move, right? We actually have to cohere. We actually have to be in integrity. We can't chess our way through everything or talk our way through everything. We have to actually truly open our hearts, right? Truly be unguarded, truly live with an unguarded heart, truly de-armor, right? Truly move from Homo armor, right, who says all the right words and who says all the pseudo-sophisticated things, to truly Homo Amor, and let the beating of the heart of a ripped open cosmos move through us, and let us step forward, right, into this moment of history and actually take action coherently together to create a new story of value. Now, in response to that writer who kind of mockingly, said, oh, but the world's really, of course, not just stories, it's atoms. Let's go a little deeper, my friend. Actually, atoms themselves are stories. And that's not just a story. That's actually in the very structure of what an atom is. And that's what we're going to talk about this Sunday. We're going to talk about stories from atoms, right? In the world of matter, to the stories in the world of life, and stories in the world of the self-reflective human, which is the story of the evolution of story. And we're going to begin to realize in a very direct and most personal and intimate way that there is no story that is alienated from cosmic magnificence. Every story is part of the story of cosmos. There is no story which is an isolated memo or a chapter which is written by itself, its own essay. Every chapter, every verse is part of the larger text. My letter is a letter in the cosmic scroll. My story is a story, right, in the larger story of the universe, but not just in some technical, mechanical way. But my story is a note of music without which the universe is quite literally out of tune, right? The universe is metallic, right, in a profoundly tragic way, without my story being resonant and tuned and melodic in the unique way that the universe intended and played through the music of my heart, which is empty of egoic pretension and filled with the unique Eros of Cosmos awake and alive in me. So we're going to go with the grace of she, with the grace of the broken heart open into reality. We want to go so deep into this notion of story, and to really understand the story of story, and understand that it's not just a story, it's an ontology of cosmos. Reality is literally ontologically stories all the way down and all the way up. And we're going to talk about the 5 dimensions of story, both in my life and your life, individually, most personally and intimately, and realize that the personal and the cosmic are ultimately not separate. The personal is a quality of the cosmic, right? And my story is the cosmic story performed in the unique pattern of my life. And we're going to try and make that alive and real. And we're going to do it not just as an exercise, not as a chess move, right? Right, trying to accomplish some grandmaster play, but we're going to accomplish this as broken open hearts, right? As agonized and ecstatic human beings who actually feel the joy of the whole and the pain of the whole, who can actually become omni-considerate and then omni-responsible for the sake of the whole. The goal is not to kind of posture for the whole, but to really be making a kind of narrow egoic move and calculating and be in a constant game theoretic dynamic. Have I made the right chess move? And we always rationalize, right, that our chess move is right, even though we give up principle because somehow, right, it fits in some larger game theoretic dynamic. No, it's not. It's deeper. I actually have to feel the pulse of the whole. I need to be in love with the whole and let the whole be in love with me. And from that place, I begin to wake up to the true outline, the true plot line of my story. So I'm, as you can hear, and tenderly, right? I'm so excited to be with you and to talk to you about this and to participate with you quite literally, right, in the evolution of culture and consciousness. We're going to try and enter into this notion of story and actually chart new ground. Actually pick up from where Aristotle really left off in the elements of story and restructure what are the core elements of story. Now, here's the thing. This used to happen in the private mystery schools, and then later it happened at the academies. Now it happens when we come together in the world of the virtual, and we find each other, not in the alienated internet, but in the intimate field, right, of this technological field, which comes alive in one mountain. And if you come to One Mountain, Many Paths, you'll feel perhaps with me this living presence of this band of outrageous lovers that are a throbbing, pulsing, alive community that we love each other, and everyone's welcome to join. And we're actually committed to playing a larger game. We're committed to transcend, right, the chess moves and actually love each other for real, which begins by talking to each other face to face, right, confronting each other, right, feeling each other. Right? That's what we're going to do. Okay, so, oh my God, I am yearning, I'm longing to be with you, and I'm ecstatic to be with you. And I'll see you this Sunday I think it's 1 o'clock Eastern time on the East Coast of the United States, and whatever time that is, in the multiple places around the world. So mad love, my friends, mad love. It's the only sanity. I can't wait to be with you there.